Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Filler segment. You're listening to this week's podcast of the Filler segment, the show that will talk about what factions have made main eventers. We're also going to talk about this week's in wrestling. No guest today, special guest like last week. Wish we did have one. Also, you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. Also, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we'll be live streaming from 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. As we get to the show today, guys, appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, liking, subscribing, and following. All right, Will, how are we doing today?
Doing good. Belly full, mind full, ready to, get my weekly wrestling chat out. Got had a couple of interesting occurrences and events this week. Friday night at the TNA show, we had a big return, if that's what you want to call it. Everybody's favorite lady. I don't know, not mine, but Tessa Blanchard is back. I don't really know how you know how I feel, but I don't know how the people feel. Kind of really not sure what the reasoning was, because she left in such a controversial fashion, and for her to come back, I'm kind of interested to find out why.
Well, Scott D'Amore's not there for one thing.
Yeah, that's true. That could be that could have very well played a role in it.
That's the one. He's the one that fired her.
Yeah, and then you're getting a little bit of, I don't want to say pushback, but you're getting some reluctancy from your top lady in that division. Miss Jordan Grace is not too excited, not sprinting to work to get back in there with Tessa Blanchard for whatever reason. But controversy aside, if we're being 100% honest, she can work. She is a draw within that company. She's done some really big things. She's done some historic things within that company, and bringing her back, I mean, it was for a reason, but it's just going to be interesting to see if she's going to get the CM Punk treatment, now that she's back, and just really interested to see what direction it goes in with.
Yeah, me too. That's why if Jordan Grace wasn't already leaving, she's leaving now. She doesn't want to work with her. She doesn't like her. Nobody likes her controversial history.
Nope.
I don't know why a company would bring her back after she did that.
I mean, it's similar to the CM Punk and WWE situation. It obviously it was a business move on the part of TNA, but do you risk losing one of your top stars because you want your higher ups want someone else back in the fold? Like if she can be professional, and if she's learned from what was from the issues that she was having in the past, then it could actually work out. But I don't know.
CM Punk, one thing, I don't like him, but he was never racist. She was accused of being racist from
and bullying too.
From La Rosa during her original Impact run in 2020, bullying, and Jordan Grace had pushback from TNA, and I guess that plan is for her to debut as a heel and beat Grace within this month.
Yeah, especially just based off of bringing her back in the way that they did with her, kind of attacking Jordan Grace and getting involved in that match last night. You can't bring her back in the face.
They'll probably wrestle at the pay-per-view in Dallas coming up, one of the big fours. Then after that, Grace is probably off to WWE NXT. If we're gonna be quite honest, she needs to go. I'm really not happy with. I forgot to show you.
Yes. I'm still that one is still on the wish list. I know exactly where to find it.
You know why I got this one? When I did the surprise boxes at Pro Wrestling Tees.
Mm-hmm.
This came in it. Yeah. But I'm not happy with TNA right now. I'm a huge TNA supporter. You know that.
Yeah. Likewise.
I'm not happy with this move. Mm-hmm. This really irked me when I saw it last night with her big chin. Her chin was sticking out the mask, dude.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of a dead giveaway, wasn't it? Because she's got one of those recognizable faces. She got one of them
But
James
I didn't
Bond
know her
faces.
tattoos at first. That's what I'm saying. I
No,
didn't.
because like when she pulled the hoodie off before she took the mask off, I'm like, who is this? I'm thinking it was somebody new. I was excited, like new talent coming into TNA. And then when she snatched the mask off, I was like, scroll. It's her. And everybody who knows me well enough knows how
But
I feel about Tessa Blanchard and her daddy.
they were saying it was pushed by one of the higher ups at Anthem Sports. So
Almost like a TKO situation with WWE. Whoever's in charge of is kind of pulling the strings and stuff like that. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see, man. I don't. Is Jordan Grace's contract up in? Is it up next month or is it February? Because I know her deal is coming up soon.
Jordan?
Jordan Grace,
January.
yeah, it is next month. Okay,
So
so
I think after the pay-per-view, it's up. Like
okay,
Naomi, when Naomi did it.
so we might possibly see Jordan Grace in the Rumble again.
Yeah. So if you didn't see the exclusive last night, speaking of, this is what Jordan Grace said, guys, quote for quote. I've known for a while that Tessa was ignorant, but what I didn't realize that she's actually a complete idiot. Coming back after all this time, after abandoning this company and trying to make a statement, using me as an example, Tessa, a lot has changed since you've been gone. You're going to realize very quickly that you made a huge fucking mistake.
Strong word.
I know it's a promo, and I know it's on the X for TNA. It's on TNA's official site, but that's probably really personal feelings.
Oh yeah, she was shooting. That's not a work at all. She was shooting, not even from the hip. She was loaded, kicked the door in, unload the clip, shooting. That was a straight shoot for real, and very, very strong words from a very strong, not just physically, but from a very, very strong woman. And when you have a star of her caliber within that company, and she's displeased, you're really running the risk of not re-signing. And this is definitely, all roads leading to her out that door. Whether her husband goes with her, we don't know. But good for Jordan Grace for like you said, even though it was just a promo, good for her on for speaking up and just being completely transparent, because she's probably the voice for a lot of those women in that locker room who aren't as established and who can't really be as open as they want to be. She strikes me as that locker room leader on the women's side, because she's been around in TNA for so long and she's done so much good work within the company. You know what I'm saying? She just she's just airing her grievances as she should. Because like I said, you have a talent of that caliber and you're upsetting her. You're getting ready to lose out, and that women's division is going to take a big hit without Jordan Grace there. I really hope that that eventually, those people at Anthem can kind of see, or kind of can not just see money, and do whatever they can to keep that roster together, because she ain't Brian Keith, but she's definitely a bad apple.
Yeah. All right. We touched on that. That's what for TNA what happened last night. Let's talk a little bit about the WWE's transfer portal or transfer. People are calling it the transfer portal.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's what it's looking like. That's exactly what it's looking like.
So
it's almost
Adam,
like a superstar shakeup.
Adam Pearce said it's official. Been wanting this for years, for multiple reasons, right? Injury replacement, roster refresh, etc. Excited to see who could potentially join the war zone on Mondays to see which of my GM pals can I fleece. So
and he's speaking of Nick and Ava when he's talking about his GM pals.
Yeah, so you can have different ones go throughout all three brands.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, like
a lot of people the draft needs to go away.
It does. And if you're going to do this like the way they're doing it now, this is the way to do it. You don't necessarily have to have a draft. And we covered the most recent draft, and it just seemed like they were. It didn't really seem like a draft. It just seemed, because a lot of the talent were pretty much being drafted to the show that they were already on,
right?
And it didn't really make that big of a difference. So, SmackDown, we got a chance to see some of what was going on because my guy, Big Braun Strowman, popped up on SmackDown. I was expecting Penta. I would have been. I mean, not that I'm never excited to see Braun, but I was really expecting Penta because I feel like him and Melo would have gave us a banger at the beginning of that show. But from what it's looking like, who they're moving, it's gonna be like a true A show, true B show with all your top stars on Netflix, and then all your I don't want to call them second tier, but your second tier stars still on USA with Gunther going over there for them to have a champion.
Right.
I'm guessing the mid card titles are going to stay where they are, and really the only champions we're getting swapped out are Gunther and Cody. But we're going to get some different faces, and it's I mean it should be exciting. It really should be exciting. I'm looking forward to see who else is going to be making the moves, making the switches. If Nia's going to stay on SmackDown, or are they going to, move her over to Netflix and swap her and Liv? Because there's really no distinguishing who's the bigger star between those two as far as the women's champions go. So maybe we will see a women's title change so that can be solidified going into the Netflix premiere.
Well,
coming up soon.
You're gonna have the U.S. title tonight. I guess Chelsea. She was on Raw, so she's been wrestling on SmackDown.
Yeah, so the U.S. is looking like Chelsea's probably gonna stay on SmackDown.
Meechin was already on SmackDown, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, she was.
Okay. What else about this? Who else? I don't know who else could be. Who's going where? I don't know.
No, I mean, like I said, the only one that's really like set in stone, it seems like, is gonna be Gunther.
Right.
But the possibilities from that switch are endless. Him, having a good enough feud to make SmackDown interesting. We'll see how that goes. I feel like Drew's probably going to end up on Netflix. You're definitely moving the Bloodline story from SmackDown to Raw because that's what TKO wants. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm more intrigued about what's going on with the mid card with this transfer portal than anything.
Their mid card sucks right now.
It does. You're not lying. You're not lying. Like,
dudes, he's dropping the ball on the champions also.
On the
the world champions.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
It's like it seems like Triple H is only focusing on this Bloodline story.
Yeah, because that's what's making him the most money.
I understand, but this other, you book Gunther sucked since he's been champion. You're booking Cody Rhodes too. When's the last time Cody
defended?
Yeah,
couldn't tell you.
That's what I'm saying.
He's too busy trying to get to 100 matches for the year, and like,
it's not his fault.
No, but 94 of those matches haven't been for the title. I mean, at least not on TV.
It will tonight.
It will. I'm pretty sure if you go and look at Cage Match, he's defended at house shows, but
that don't count.
No. But I mean, they count them as title defenses, but there hasn't been any like. When was the last PLE he defended at? Not even just TV. When was the last?
Well, he wasn't on the last PLE.
Nope. I don't think he was on the last two as a single in a singles match or defending.
It was in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah, but that wasn't for his title. That was for the Crown Jewel Championship. So that really doesn't count as a title defense because it was him.
Nope.
It was champion versus champion. So, and neither of their respective titles were on the line. So I couldn't tell you. SummerSlam? I don't want to think it was that far back.
Tell them Triple H needs to stop doing title versus title, man.
Yeah, it gets us nowhere. Unless
you're making one guy look weaker than the other.
Yeah, as a champion, and even on the women's side too. Even on the women's side too. Like when you do title for title, somebody has to look. Even if you don't like the finish to the Saudi Arabia match, it was a clean finish, but do we really as fans, do we really think that Cody is able to beat Gunther in a match? No, at least I don't, and that doesn't have anything to do with my dislike for Cody. It's just
I know that
you booked Gunther so strong. He's lost less than 10 matches since he's been on the main roster.
Now we're gonna get
or since he's been in WWE. Period. He's lost less than 10 matches.
We're gonna get a Kaiser versus Gunther now. That's not. Come on, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dog. No, man.
Because that should be a squash. On paper, that's a squash.
But they do get. Maybe they give Kaiser the IC belt. I don't know.
And have him beat Braunberg.
Braunberg's kind of like fizzled out a little bit too.
Yeah, and that because of the lack.
Not his fault. Like I said again,
100%.
We need to mix up this transfer, like you're saying. You need to put somebody strong on SmackDown. Mm-hmm. But what are they going to do when SmackDown goes to Netflix? It's eventually going to Netflix, right?
Is it? Has that been the talk that they're going to put both shows on Netflix?
I think so.
My issue with Netflix is the lack of archive that they're going to have. Like, what's going to happen with Peacock? Where are we going to? And then again, that could be why there's a Vault channel on YouTube now.
It will eventually. They said, yeah, NXT, SmackDown, and Raw on Netflix. Eventually,
something's got to shake, man. Something's got to shake.
You can't really do. There's no more of this arguing which show has more viewers now because it's Netflix.
They're all going to be, yeah. I mean, and if you're going to put NXT on Netflix too, you got to start doing something different. You got to start doing something different. Like you really do.
You just put NWA out of CW because you wanted Netflix on CW. Now you're going to bring him to Netflix. Now you just buried another company, like always.
Right. And NWA definitely could have thrived with that TV deal on CW.
So now they're back. Now they're back on YouTube again. I mean, I know they get paid for the viewers and in the ad sharing revenue.
Yeah.
Because it's their original content.
But they could have done so much more on actual TV, And I wasn't even getting NWA on CW before they pulled them off.
No, you weren't getting it because it was only on the app.
Okay.
Or you can go to the app on your smart TV and watch it. That's what I'm saying. It was never like a live time slot.
Right. Yeah. So you're burying. You're basically doing the same thing that the old man was doing.
Yep.
You're not changing your ways. You're just being.
Is it really? Do they really need to bury somebody? No.
No. Not now. At this point.
Nope.
Mm-mm. You're the most established professional wrestling organization on the planet. You're at this stage. You're just being greedy. You're just being greedy. So I don't know, man. I'm hoping that even like I was saying, even NXT, I'm hoping that they can kind of change their booking because like Sean's doing okay, but there's just a lot of there's still a lot of holes in the game.
Let's be real. Sean just want some big booties in NXT. Because I remember I watched one NXT show. I think 5 out of the 6 matches, or 4 out of 5 matches were females.
We're females, yeah. Sean's supposed to be this big born again saved. Like, come on, man,
Yeah. But we talked about Cody and stuff. So let's go into what factions have made superstars, and I'm almost kick it right off with the Bullet Club. There's some guys on the E. It was in the Bullet Club that are main eventers.
Yes. One of your favorites. Let's just start it off. It might seem like alphabetical order, but it's not, believe me. But one of your favorites, one of my favorites, Mr. Alan Neil Jones, better known to the wrestling world as AJ Styles, who, in my opinion, just right now, because Cody's still in the midst of his superstar push. I think out of all of the Bullet Club members, I think AJ might be the biggest star that's come from that particular faction.
Cody is there.
I feel like AJ's been an established star longer than Cody. Like I said, Cody's still in the middle of his like big superstar push.
Yep.
He took the time to reinvent himself, and when he did take that time to reinvent himself, he found himself in Bullet Club. But by that point, AJ was already he had already been the guy in Japan. He had already been the guy at TNA. He was in the midst of being the guy in WWE. So I think he reached like that peak level of stardom before Cody. But I mean that's taken nothing away from the star that Cody's become, and Bullet Club has helped him become a star 100%. But I feel like when you look at total resume at this point, I would put AJ slightly above Cody right now, because Cody's, like I said, Cody's still finishing his story and all of this other cliche mess that they've been, putting on him. And
Yeah,
but
I mean, I get it because he's been a TNA World Champion, he's been an IWGP World Champion, he's been a WWE World Champion, so he's been.
He was an NWA champion too. AJ.
I mean, inside of TNA, that's fine.
But he still had the NWA title though. Like he was still considered. If you go look up title history for NWA,
Yeah,
AJ
right.
on that list too.
I'm saying inside the companies, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's been world champion everywhere he's gone. Pre Bullet Club, post Bullet Club, during Bullet Club.
So yeah, Bullet Club is made. There's quite a few we're going to go over on the Bullet Club, but that's one of the ones that made it. That actually, because he was in TNA, not everybody watched TNA. Mm-hmm. Then he went over to Bullet Japan after he had that bad split up with TNA, and made himself a bigger star than he already was.
I hated that he left TNA the way he did. Like I'm glad that they've been able to patch up the relationship, and he's still, has a good rapport with the organization. But he could have, like, I feel like it's almost like when you see, it's like Jerry Rice when he went to the Raiders. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like he just doesn't look right in that uniform, But it's great that he was able to hash it out. I just hate that he left on the terms that he did. But had he not left on the terms that he did, then maybe we wouldn't be talking about him like we are now. Maybe he wouldn't be the star that he is now if he didn't leave.
Speaking of Bullet Club, there's two out of the 4 members of Bullet Club are going to be main event on the Fatal 4-Way at World's End.
Yeah, that is very true.
Adam Page and Jay White.
Yep. Who we could consider stars from that faction.
This one's kind of
making a name for herself.
The current Bullet Club sucks.
I'm not in disagreement with that at all. I'm really not in disagreement with that.
David Finlay, Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd.
Yeah. And I've only heard of David Finlay. I don't get to watch much New Japan because I don't have access.
So Gabe Kidd is going to be the one wrestling Omega.
And that's this month?
Next month.
Next month, Wrestle Kingdom. And there's
it's back to back. It's back to back nights.
Because one night is Wrestle Kingdom, and then the other night is.
I'm not buying New Japan's because it's too early.
It is. Dudes be losing sleep, man. Trying to watch. They might have to just watch the replay. I don't even know about watching the replay, but yeah, that's just because because of the time difference, of course. But sometimes you gotta make that sacrifice, man. And
how about just shout out some guys at TNA that people don't know who is on Bullet Club. You follow Bullet Club. Ace Austin and Chris Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they still are.
No, I don't think Chris Bay is because of the whole ABC thing. So I don't think he has the association anymore. You don't really see, and you often see guys pay homage and they'll throw up the Too Sweet or the gun or something. Like I haven't seen Chris Bay do that as often. A time or two, but since since the whole ABC team has formed, it seems like he's kind of leading.
Jack Perry, he was in the Bullet Club too.
Was Jungle Boy 90210 in the Bullet Club?
When he had that after that the Punk situation, he went to Japan to wrestle for a little while.
Okay. So
yeah, he was part of it.
Oh, he just had like a 10-day contract with the Bullet Club?
I don't know what he had. Yeah, it's probably something like that.
My cousin was a member of the Bullet Club. You know who my cousin is?
Yeah, Adam Cole.
Wasn't he leader he was like Ring of Honor Bullet Club lead before Cody got there? Wasn't he the leader?
Yeah, but let's talk about, he's not really a main eventer right now to me.
No, not a main eventer. No, absolutely not.
So I want to talk about the main eventers coming out the Bullet Club. I mean, the big dogs. So
we're not going to talk about the Good Brothers then?
Jeff Jarrett? He was in the Bullet Club from August 2014 to January 15. I'm not going to talk about him because he was already there.
No, we're not going to talk about Jeff Jarrett.
I want to bring up my big dog right now. He's been a main eventer. He's been a champion in WWE. even though if it was for one day because he got hurt. My dog, leader of the Judgment Day, Finn Balor.
Yes, probably. But he was the one that started it all. If I'm
He's
not
the
mistaken.
original leader of the Bullet Club.
He kicked it all the way off. Prince Devitt, some of his best work, man. I mean, and granted, he was younger and able to do more, but he was such a huge, enormous star in Japan. Like, man, you couldn't have had you. I don't think anybody else has had it how he's had it when he was over there. Like, you are credited for probably one of the top 5 most well-known factions in professional wrestling history, and I'm gonna go ahead and say third.
Okay,
Biggest, third most popular, third most
right.
recognized faction, because you got the Horsemen, and then unfortunately you have the NWO, and that's only
Right.
because they had 17,000 members. And but I mean, you got to credit the NWO, because if it wasn't for the NWO, we wouldn't have the Bullet Club. Thank you, Scott Hall, for allowing this hand gesture to make it across the pond over in Japan. And kind of off subject. I wish his son would have been more of an impact with the Bullet Club, and I wish he would have became a bigger star, because I had really high hopes for Cody Hall. He just fit the description of like the guys that I enjoy watching. 6'8", 290. You know what I'm saying? Powerhouse type of dude. But Devitt, Finn, whatever you want to call him, man, he deserves way more credit than he does than he's gotten. Like, yeah, you mention it, but he deserves way more credit, man. Because if it wasn't for him, and I love, and I'm gonna be 100% transparent here. At very first, when I first heard about the Bullet Club, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it at all until I heard about about Scott Hall giving the blessing for the Too Sweet and all of that. I just figured, I just thought it was another ripoff. Like, here y'all go.
Oh, NWO ripoff?
Yeah, but later finding out that the NWO was a damn ripoff. Thank you, Bishop. So
from Japan.
Yes, but full circle moment. And big shout out to Finn, man, for giving us what, just for the longevity of the faction too. Granted, like you were saying, the most recent rendition is not as good, but you've got so many different branches of, you got Bullet Club Gold, you got War Dogs, just things of that nature. And it all started because of Finn. Like, Finn starting Bullet Club again has helped us learn who guys are, has pushed guys into the main event scene, just being associated with Bullet Club. You got your AJs, you got your Codys, you got your Jay Whites, you got your Hangmans. You can even throw Tama and Tonga in there now, because they're not main eventers, but they have main evented. I'm not even gonna throw Tonga Loa in there. We're just gonna go Tama Tonga.
Thank you.
Anybody that gets hurt tears their bicep opening the cage door, you don't deserve mention. But you've given us these guys who have become not superstars or main eventers, but recognizable names. And then at the same time, you have those guys who have become main eventers. I mean, and like, Adam Cole's not a main eventer right now, but he has been. He was the man in NXT for basically his entire run there.
He was a man in Ring of Honor too.
He was. You got Kenny
one Ring
Omega.
of Honor was scorching hot then.
Yes. Yeah, Ring of Honor was white hot at that point.
But I think the best version.
Go ahead.
The best version of Bullet Club was when they had Cody, AJ, Kenny Omega, the Bucks. To me, that was the best version of Bullet Club, because they had the most stars come out of there.
Yep. And that was probably the last version of Cody that I can say that I like. Bomber jacket, natural hair color Cody. That promo in New Japan after he won the New Japan United States title, that Cody.
Yep.
Best version of him. And then he, tattooed Dream on his chest and bleached his hair. And Now he is a nightmare. But
To
you
you.
can't. To me, yes, that's let me. But again, man, you can't take nothing away from him. Like he's at the top of his game right now. And I feel like if it wasn't for his association with the Bullet Club, Cody wouldn't be Cody right now. Cody Rhodes wouldn't be Cody Rhodes. He would probably still just be Cody. Can't use my last name because the old man owns rights to it.
Right.
But I mean, it's just they've had so many. And I got to pull up on Cage Match right now. You got Kenny. You can put the Bucks in there because they're probably the most well known and the most decorated tag team to come out of that group. So
You
I would go
sure?
ahead.
Not the.
Not the Good Brothers. Not the Good Brothers. Not
They
the Good
suck.
Brothers. they do. I'm not gonna disagree with you there,
Well,
man.
at first when they came, the first run they had in WWE wasn't too bad, but once the second time now, it sucked bad.
It's been very, very subpar. Very
And we also,
subpar.
he's not a main eventer yet, but he is in the main event scene at World's End. Jay White is, maybe he's going to be the next one.
I mean, and he's getting there though. Like Jay White has slowly climbed his way up the card to AEW, and even with him being associated with the Bang Bang Gang and them and I feel like he was brought in and he was put with them obviously because him and Juice have that history, but to kind of give them that recognition, and they needed a leader, they needed somebody with a name, and Jay White was perfect for them. And
not Juice. Juice.
I like Juice.
I know
like
you
Juice.
do.
Juice is from home. Juice from back home. Juice from Joliet, Illinois. So
I like Juice.
His wife ain't too bad either. So but no, Juice is solid, man.
Right. I like Juice.
I think the best thing for Juice was when he left NXT, when he left WWE. That was
You
the
know,
best thing that he did for his career.
the guns, like you were saying, they started growing on me a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once everybody stopped calling them once everybody stopped calling them the ass boys.
They're still the ass boys to me.
Well, yeah, they are. They're always gonna be the ass boys.
I like one of them's hurt. I think Austin's hurt right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
and it's cool that Colton isn't like trying to glory hog while his brother is out.
AEW is always crap about booking sometimes, but Tony did it right when he took them away from their dad.
Yes. Let them build. Let them become who they are. Let them become stars on their own. Because
they did.
Right. We know who their dad is. We know, and they don't. And there's really no. I mean, and it was because they had the feud with the Acclaimed and Pops, but he didn't drag it.
Right.
He didn't drag it out super long, and that was a really good move. I agree with you on that. That was a really good move by TK, letting them branch out on their own and kind of get their feet wet in the business. And I'm pretty sure backstage and off camera, Billy has a whole lot to do with their development and things of that nature, and just making sure that they're not going to blow their opportunity. But on screen, separating them from their dad was one of the better moves that Tony's made, and I really commend him for that. And again, the Bang Bang Gang theme music, boy, that trumpet, ooh-wee. If you like jazz.
So, I mean, I'm glad you brought up Billy. Let's get into another faction real quick that Billy was in. We're going to talk about Degeneration X.
Which rendition, though? Because, we got two different renditions.
You have more than two different renditions. You have 5 different renditions.
Are we going to talk about Degeneration X as well?
No. But for everybody who don't know, there was a Degeneration X down in Mexico after, I think it was in AAA. After
it was AAA.
X-Pac left, he formed a rendition down in Mexico.
Degeneration X.
That's the leader.
Yeah, he was. I thought that was so funny.
So we're going to get into it. We have Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Chyna, Rick Rude. We're all founding members.
Mm-hmm.
So Shawn Michaels basically, back in the day then, he was basically the main eventer. He was the go-to guy. I mean, he was on drugs a lot, but that's not here to say. But Triple H wasn't a main eventer yet.
No,
right?
He was what and the only person I've heard use this term was Road Dogg, ironically enough. Triple H was a curtain jerker. He was classical music, pompous gimmick. He hadn't become Triple H yet. He was still Hunter Hearst Helmsley, which was basically a ripoff of Jean-Paul Levesque when he was a blue blood. But HBK, really, really helped make Triple H the star that he became. Rick Rude was already an established star. Unfortunately, he was unable to compete around that time, which still sucks to me because I loved Ravishing Rick Rude.
Yeah, remember he left, and the next week he showed up on Nitro.
He was on both shows on the same night because Raw was taped. And he was on both shows on the same night, which is
so he was part of DX and NWO at the same time.
NWO at the same time, yeah. That's probably one of my favorite Monday nights in wrestling. It's like, yo, weren't you just? And now he's But Rick Rude kind of, like Shawn Michaels around that time reminded me a lot of who Rick Rude was in his prime in the 80s when he was with the Heenan family. And it is kind of fitting. He played a good mentor role,
right?
A good enough mentor role because Shawn was still being the biggest backstage politician since the Red and Yellow Man at that point. And but he definitely made a star out of Triple H. He definitely made a star out of China. Moving forward, he helped X-Pac become a bigger star because he was already on his way as 1-2-3 Kid before he left to go to the NWO. He was kind of on his way, working his way up the card, being a member of the clique. Billy Gunn was fizzling out before.
Yeah, but so like you were saying, after Shawn left you after wrestling because of his back and stuff, drugs and stuff, after Shawn Steve Austin.
14,
this is to me my favorite rendition of the group.
Oh yeah.
And also
it took over as a leader.
Yeah, Triple H took the leader, then become a main eventer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he really took Road Dogg up because before that he was just
he was the roadie
for Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, he was Double J. He was the roadie. He was like the headliner on Shotgun Saturday Night.
Yeah,
and then he saved Billy Gunn from the rockabilly gimmick, which probably would have completely buried him.
Yeah,
because Honky Tonk Man was a thing of the past. He didn't really fit in the Attitude Era, and I'm glad that happened for Billy because it helped. Like Billy was already on his way, when he was a Smoking Gun, when him and his brother were a tag team. Like they were doing pretty well, multiple time tag champions, but he just didn't. Looking back, like as an older wrestling fan now, and seeing the type of person Billy Gunn was with the Smoking Guns, he's never been a babyface like that. He's never really been like that, sign autographs, kiss babies type of babyface. You know what I'm saying? Like that all-American type of babyface. That wasn't who Billy Gunn was, and I think him joining DX really helped him shed that, and we got to see who he really was as a performer in the ring and out the ring. Wasn't he IC champ? Wasn't Billy Gunn IC champ once?
Yep.
Yeah.
Him and the Road Dogg.
Yeah. So as a result of being a member of DX.
That's what I'm saying. Those making them into stars they was because of Degeneration X made those two in stars. If not, they would have just been lost in the sauce again.
Yeah, they would have been.
They'd probably been out of a job.
Or just working somewhere where they're not making a whole bunch of money, because they did have a brief TNA run after they had with the old man.
They did it for 2 years, called Voodoo Kin Mafia, VKM. Truth was part of their faction.
Was a part of that. Truth definitely was a part of that because him and Road Dogg were teaming in WWE.
Yep.
And Truth was still K-Quick. Can we count Truth? Is Truth like a honorary?
Nah.
No. Not guilty by association.
But probably your favorite member right now, I'm going to get into real quick. Hornswoggle of Degeneration X.
For one night only?
It was for a month.
Oh, it wasn't for a month. That was about. I had a stretch where I really wasn't watching wrestling for some reason or another, and it was around that time. Like I know about it, but like I said, I got my information wrong. I'm thinking that he was only there for a night, but yeah. Hornswoggle did DX make Hornswoggle a star, or did Finley make Hornswoggle a star?
Finley, it was not really a star. I was just joking on that one.
Hey,
But my
I
worst
like the
rendition.
Hornswoggle though.
What is your worst rendition of DX?
Ooh,
I will tell you if you don't
probably
say it.
when it was just Hunter and Sean when they had the feud with the Spirit Squad because they were doing a whole bunch of stupid stuff.
No, I that's still not worse than this one.
No, go ahead, go for it.
Saudi Arabia versus the Brothers of Destruction.
See, there are matches that I want to completely erase from my memory. Sadly, both of them involve the Undertaker, and I can't even put that 1 or 2. That's like 1A, because whoever watched the Undertaker and the man the man I call Billy Two Moves.
Yep.
When we watched him almost paralyze the Undertaker, but yeah,
but I'm talking about of DX. That was bad.
Yeah. But I'm saying that match, like I said, my 2 matches that I want to erase from my memory just so happen to involve the Undertaker, and that one with Brothers of Destruction and DX was one of them. Sean trying to moonsault at 50 something years old.
I know.
I'm not even about to talk about how cross-eyed he became. Like, who were you landing on? Like, what direction are you going in, man? But that was bad. That was horrible. But Sean made $3 million off that match. So if Triple H calls me and you to go perform in Saudi Arabia for $3 million apiece, you think we not going?
Right.
I'm by. I'll see you when I get back. I might be a little banged up, but that bank account gonna be a super heavyweight by the time I get back. But yeah, so, 100% agree. That was the worst. The worst.
We also. Oh, okay. I got one real quick. Before we get into my last one, I got 2 more left. I just want to quickly. Evolution.
Yeah. Even though they've only out of the 4, they only made 2 stars, but they still made 2 stars.
2 huge stars.
Enormous, and 2 of my favorites of all time. Easily in my top.
But if you can guess what our last one, I'm gonna not say it yet. These are 3 of the top stars in today's game. That will be for the last one, okay? But still, look, they had Randy Orton, 14-time champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Batista, multiple-time champion, movie star.
Mm-hmm.
So I give it. Ric Flair had his hands in helping them out, and Triple H.
Here's what I'm gonna go ahead and say, because the newer generation who didn't really know too much about Ric Flair until Evolution was a thing, they helped kind of make Ric Flair a star again. Because Rick was at a point in his life where he was really, really low. He didn't really know what direction to go in. Was thinking about hanging it up, and the fact that Triple H went to him and was like, "Yo, this is what I want to do. I would love for you to be a part of it. It'll kind of give us that Horseman feel again." And it was really, really, really good. Evolution did some phenomenal work, man. They really did. Thank you for not adding Mark Jindrak to the group, because if you did that, we wouldn't have had Batista. He'd probably still be holding Devon's collection plate or something like that. But that was a really good move on them, realizing that Jindrak wasn't a fit. But Orton became a mega star out of that group. Batista became a mega star out of that group. It was, man, you can't say enough about Evolution and what they did for those 2 guys. And they're from the same developmental class too.
Yeah. So the reason I only brought them up, because I wasn't going to talk about them at all, because I wanted to float into this next one. They had a feud with this next group I'm going to talk about. This is our last group for the day, guys. The Shield. 3 of the top guys right now in the game. You got Moxley over there on AEW, World Champion.
Doing great things.
The belts just came off Seth and Roman.
Mm-hmm.
At one time, they were all 3 world champions at the same time.
Yes, they were. And I don't think that's ever happened.
I'm kind of sad how Mox run ended in WWE, but it was time to go. He wasn't happy, so why would you stay at a place where you weren't happy?
Exactly.
Now he's been, 4-time AEW
4.
champion now?
I think it is 4. The IWGP champion. He was IWGP United States champion. He's done great work on the indies when he was doing his indie shows. He's getting,
I think he's the only one with all 3, right? Yeah.
I believe he is. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Even though his IWGP title was the ugliest ever, he still won it.
They still have it. I think that's still the belt.
You got the one that looks like the Divas belt? You have that one?
No, I said I think that's still the belt right now.
Oh, it is because
Yeah.
I want to say Zack Sabre is the champ over there.
Yeah, he is.
But Mox, I mean, clearly, and everybody knows, it kind of goes without saying, Roman is the biggest star. As far as like merch and money and recognition, but equally, all 3 of them were huge stars. Everybody was at the top. Everybody is still at the top of their game.
Yep.
I feel like as far as making stars out of it, they did the best job, and it was as organic as it could possibly be, because they came up through the ranks together, pretty much all got called up at the same time. Do you know who the original group was supposed to be? Because Roman was the throw-in.
Who was the original?
That's why I was asking. I wasn't 100% sure.
Let me tell you real quick.
but I knew that Roman was the throw-in at first. It was somebody else. I dare not say that it was the big guy, but I don't think it was. But Roman was definitely a last minute addition to the Shield at very first. It was Big E. It was Big E.
Okay.
It was Big E. He was supposed to be the powerhouse of the Shield, and then they ended up pairing him with AJ and Dolph when he got called up. But Big E was supposed to be the 3rd member of the Shield, and it was talks about him being the 3rd member of the Shield, and I feel like that would have worked too. That definitely would have worked too. But I'm glad that they went in the direction that they did, because I love the Shield. I loved the Shield. Like Roman did. And let me just add, just your opinion. When you first caught wind of the Shield and you started seeing them work, did Roman kind of give you that Batista feel?
Yeah.
Like he kind of reminded you of Batista a little bit in certain ways, like the way he worked, not just based off the way he was built, but the way he worked and his in-ring style kind of gave me that Batista feel. And I think that's why it worked so well when they were feuding, Triple H and Batista and Orton, because you saw evolution like in the in-ring style. You know what I'm saying? Like you can see the comparisons and the similarities between Seth and Triple H and Batista and Roman. Not so much Mox and Orton, but just them being like the wild cards. You know what I'm saying? The unpredictable guys. Because you gotta have one. You gotta have one unhinged, one off chain type of dude. And Orton with his Legend Killer, after the fact was kind of that. And you bring all of that together, man. That was one of my favorite feuds. I kind of just wish that Evolution wasn't so old at the time, and they could have done so much. I'm glad that when they did have their 6-man, that the Shield got the win. It was good on them, on the older guys, to put them over.
The thing I'm glad that WWE stopped shoving Roman down our throat and actually let him be itself.
Mm-hmm.
If not, he might have fizzled out, man.
Oh yeah, he was on his way.
Yeah.
He was definitely on his way, and that would have been a very, very bad look considering the family that he came from, and you growing up in the business. But listen, Michael Jordan's kids wasn't the best basketball players. You know what I'm saying? So
yep.
But it worked. I'm glad it worked.
It all started, when he had leukemia and came back, and since then they
strapped a rocket back to him, and
they didn't force him down people's throat like they were doing.
It's a situation of, you got to make us miss you when you're gone,
Yep.
Because then when you come back, we appreciate you more. That's why now at 42, I love John Cena so much, because there was a point in time I'm like, oh God, this dude again. I can't stand this song. Now I love
that. It was the same way. John Cena was the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 100%. I had something. I had somebody else, another group to touch on real quick. It just slipped my mind that fast. I'm getting old, but yeah.
So, guys, that's some of our factions. We talked about the Shield. We talked about Evolution. We talked about Bullet Club and DX and some of our top factions that made main event stars. If you just look at it, we'll go down some of the list of the main event stars that came out of it. The Shield, you got 3 main eventers. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, John Moxley. DX came up with just one, but they had a good tag team main eventers too, if you want to consider the main event tag team scene.
Very
with
true.
The New Age Outlaws and Triple H. Evolution came up with 2 huge stars, 1 mega star in Randy Orton. And the Bullet Club has had multiple stars, so it's too many to name.
A plethora, way too many to name, but they are I guess if we had to rank this segment, I would put Bullet Club at the top because of the amount of stars that they did.
Omega, the Bucks, Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles,
Kenny Omega,
Jay White, Adam Cole, Finn Balor. I mean, there's too many to be named. And your favorite, the Good Brothers.
Tonga Loa, your guy. Hey, listen, if you're gonna put the Bullet Club and Jeff Jarrett on me, you gotta at least take Tonga Loa. That's okay. Fair. Those are the conditions of the trade right there.
All right. But we do appreciate y'all joining today. If you give us a follow on all social media platforms. We appreciate you. Until next week. Next week we'll be going, before we go, next week we'll be talking about World's End. Stay tuned.
Yes.
Peace.